Well, everybody, welcome back. It is January 24th, 2026, and you're listening to episode 223 of Midnight Film Society. Your host, Damian Sherman. Joining me today, as always, is...
McDuff.
On today's show, the 2026 Oscar nominations were announced Thursday morning. So Derick and I will go over all the surprises, the snubs, and what the hell F1 was nominated for Best Picture. We will also look ahead to our most anticipated movies of the year. But before that, there was some movie and TV news, discuss what we've been watching, and finish up with our Letterboxd Shuffle. Right into the show, Midnight Film Society at gmail.com, Midnight Film Pod on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Letterboxd. Subscribe on Podcast, YouTube Podcast, and Spotify. Rate and review it on Apple Podcast. Tell a friend, family member, or stranger. What's up, dude? How we doing?
We are doing well. I am just back from a little vacation, a little camping trip. Did a lot of hiking, saw a lot of beautiful sights, saw some bighorn sheep, and now I am ready to record.
Nice. You saw a big orange sheep?
Big horned sheep.
Big horned sheep. Okay. I was like, orange sheep. All right. I guess so. Never seen that in my life, but all right. I guess they exist somewhere. Big horned sheep.
Have you seen big horned sheep? Have you seen them?
Sure. On nature documentaries, of course. Yeah. Yeah. They battle.
Okay, but I mean, I saw them with my eyeballs, looking at them, not looking at a documentary. I witnessed them. He was looking right at me, and I was like, hello.
Were they majestic?
They were majestic as fuck.
Nice. Very cool. All right. So yeah, we got a lot in the docket today. We both seen quite a few things, as I can see here on your list. But let's talk about the year that was 2025. We did our best of last time, and every time this time this year, every year this time, David Erhlich puts out his best movies of the year that was, and it's always a treat. I always go around and look for other people's videos, montages to try to put in for the best of the year show, but I think Erhlich is one of the best that does it as far as transitions and music beats and thematic beats. There's a few times in there where I noticed the lyrics of that song really matched the scene that he was putting up there next to it. So yeah, really, really enjoy that stuff. He always puts it out every year, does a really good job.
Yeah, no, I thought it was great. Really enjoyed it. I just watched it right now before we recorded, and it's like I say, it's very well edited. Thematically on point. Really, it gets the emotions stirring. You're like, yeah, I remember I watched this movie, and oh man, it's bleeding into this thing, and they've got the soundtrack from K-pop Demon Hunters. So it's exciting. It's fun stuff. I love it. I love to watch other lists, and that's, like you said, one of the best.
Yeah. He left one movie out, and I feel like we didn't talk about a movie from last year that was from a director that I really enjoy. I enjoy every movie he puts out, which was Wes Anderson's The Phoenician Scheme. I feel like that movie just completely blanked off people's radar, which I think is kind of an accomplishment considering how beloved Wes Anderson is in the eyes, in the minds of cinephiles everywhere.
Right. Yeah. That movie just kind of disappeared, and to the point where I was excited for it, and then it came out, and I kind of forgot about it and didn't even bother to see it. And then I was doing my end of the year watch. I was like, well, it's not on anyone's list. Do I need to watch this thing? I'll probably see it at some point. I love Wes Anderson, but yeah, it just vanished.
Just completely vanished. Yeah, which is very, very, very interesting thing. But yeah, there's this I forget part. There's a part in here where he was near the end where he's talking about sentimental value, and he put some lyric up next to the part where the Renata Rice says, and Stellan Skarsgård's face is emerging. Did really interesting stuff with that. Put a couple movies in there I have yet to see that I really want to see. Surat was kind of high up in his list, which is potentially going to be nominated for international feature. Really
potentially. Yeah. The Oscar nominations are out. We can look and see if it got nominated right now, Damian.
I said it had potential to be nominated, so I gave a little bit of a tease there.
Okay. Okay.
Or were you trying to do a nice pivot?
That's some gaslighting, but okay.
Were you trying to do a nice little pivot there for me? I spoiled it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going for.
That's exactly what you're going for. Okay, so let's pivot to the 2026 Oscar nominations happened 2 days ago, so we're kind of on top of it there. Yeah, I didn't watch the announcements live, but I kind of woke up maybe like half an hour after they happened. I don't know why are they so early? It's like, especially for you on the West Coast, it's like 5:30 a.m., 6 a.m.,
Yeah.
something like that. Crazy, right?
It's 5:30 exact. It's 5:30 in the morning. I'm not, and I was also camping, so I was like not going to be able to see them even if I had woken up. But yeah, it's ridiculous because it's not like, oh well, it's early here, but it's fine. I'm like, they're done from LA. Like I'm just like, why so early?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So, how do you want to do this? You want to go to Best Picture first? Do you want to talk about overall stuff? How do you want to do this?
I mean, your call, man. I'll follow your lead on this one.
The biggest news that came out of the nominations was that Sinners garnered the most nominations of any film in history. Now, there's a few caveats there. It got 16 nominations. It did pick up the new category, Best Ensemble, but even if it didn't, it also got
best casting, not best ensemble.
Best casting. Yes.
Clarify. Yes.
Yeah.
So it's not the best ensemble. It's actually the job of casting itself.
Yeah.
Who cast the film itself, not who had. Not like how SAG gives out, a kind of group effort for acting. So it's a little bit, pedantic, but it is an important distinction.
No, yeah, appreciate it. Best casting, because if you watch, the credits of any movie, it'll have like, casting by blah blah blah, and it's like it's not a DGA thing, but it's like this person, whoever is in a established guild, and they got a Esquire after their name or whatever. So it is it's a thing that is what do you call it? It's a prestigious thing that people actually work very hard to do. So it's good that they're recognizing that. So Sinners got 16 nominations, the most in history. Definitely deserved it, right? We were going into this, it was kind of a toss-up of like, is it, because Ryan Coogler, and I don't know if this is a current thing, so I'm not going to, again, spot off, like I know exactly what it is, but I know Ryan Coogler initially didn't want to be a member of the Academy, or at least a member of the DGA, the Directors Guild. So there's a bit of pushback there. He worked really hard to get his movie back in his hands after 25 years, which is a rare thing to do. So, he's definitely a revolutionary guy in the business in that way. So there was some, worry that Sinners would not be lauded in the way that it should be. But yeah, very good to see that it got the most nominations ever.
Yeah, and even, if you take out, like you said, casting as a new award, even if it had not had that this year, it would still have broken the record. 15 would still have been the most nominations for any movie.
Yes, absolutely. So let's go top to bottom. Let's go best picture nominated films. Pretty much all of them were kind of chalk picks. They've been bandied about. The names are as follows: Begonia, F1, Frankenstein, Hamnet, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Sinners, and Train Dreams. For me personally, Train Dreams was probably the outlier there. Train Dreams had a chance to get in there. It was one of those movies that I was like, I really hope this movie, gets in there, gets a love, and I was really happy to see that one in there. Anyone on this list, Derick, that you're really happy to see on there?
Yeah, I mean, these are, like you said, this is mostly what we expected. I'm not super surprised Train Dreams got on. I'm glad Frankenstein got on because I liked that movie a lot. I'm glad Del Toro, he obviously won Best Picture a few years ago, but I feel like kind of has a, somewhat back and forth relationship with the Academy. So glad to see that got on there. It was cool to see Secret Agent on there. The Brazilian film, which we'll be talking about later. The one that surprised me, not surprised, because I knew it had an outside shot, but I'm kind of bummed that F1 got in. It felt like that was that 10 slot where they kind of give it to a more populist pick. And I was really hoping that was going to go to Weapons. That was going to be kind of the outlier pick, similar to what happened with The Substance last year, how they gave it to a horror film that kind of broke through. I was thinking maybe Weapons will get it. It only picked up one nomination, though, that we'll get to later. So I just thought F1 was not very good. So it was a little bit of a bummer to see that in the noms.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. We texted back and forth about it, and there are some comps to it. Top Gun Maverick was there a couple of years ago, but like you mentioned,
that's good. That's the difference. That's a good movie.
a good movie.
That's a good
People
movie
liked
that
it.
people liked.
Yeah. You know, I think there's probably some Brad Pittness in there. You know, him being a producer of a lot of movies, probably got a lot of the Academy voters on his side there to get that across the finish line, pun intended. Begonia, I really like seeing on there. I think it's kind of a soft received one, not as much as like The Favorite. Definitely better than Kinds of Kindness. What's her name? Emma Stone's. You know, did she get the? She got the nomination there, so that probably helped that get into Best Picture. Hamnet was kind of a lock. Marty Supreme was kind of a lock. One Battle obviously was a lock. Let's talk about some of the international stuff they got in there. Secret Agent and Sentimental Value. I alluded earlier to Surat possibly getting the Secret Agent slot or the Sentimental Value slot. So those are the two sort of international films in there, right? And then Sinners is in there and Train Dreams. So yeah, really good eclectic variety of films in there, I think.
Yeah, Surat did, for the record, get nominated for Best International Film.
Okay, well, he spoiled it there, but I was going to go into that later.
Okay, well, you know, all right, well.
Yeah.
You just, all right.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if ChatGPT had told you that or not. So
okay, all right. Sure. Listen, do you want to sit here and type all this out? Because I don't.
No, I'm gonna go on NPR and read their lists.
Yeah, with the ads though. With the ads, I don't want to see ads. Anyways, let's move on to Best Actor. Again, some pretty safe picks here. Timothée Chalamet, Marty Supreme. We also got to chat about Marty Supreme because I don't know. Have you seen that film yet?
I have not. So I've seen. Of the Best Picture nominees, I've seen all of them except for Begonia and Marty Supreme.
Gotcha. All right. I've seen all of them except for F1. Back to Best Actor, Timothée Chalamet for Marty Supreme, Leo DiCaprio, One Battle After Another, Ethan Hawke, Blue Moon. I really liked seeing that in there. That was one of my favorites of the year. Michael B. Jordan for Sinners, Man Wagner Mora for The Secret Agent, which we just got to talk about that for a second because that's glad to see it in there. But again, surprise pick. Surprised to have that on there. You know, Secret Agent just came out in limited release just recently. So again, very happy to see it on there, but very surprised to see it on there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I saw this movie about a month ago, you know, I think Wagner Moore, I liked the movie. I think Wagner Moore's performance in it was probably my favorite part. It was really cool to see him, you know, he's somebody who has popped up in American films like Civil War. But it was really cool to see him leading this great Brazilian film, and one of a couple actors on here that is playing dual roles.
What was the other one? Let's see.
Him and Michael B. Jordan.
Oh yes, of course. Sorry, yeah, of course, that was the obvious thing there. There's one big snub is the. Is Jesse Plemons for Begonia. You know, a lot of people have said he got snubbed there. You haven't seen the movie yet. Any takes on that?
I mean, I like Jesse Plemons as an actor. I don't know who you kick off here. Maybe Ethan Hawke. I don't know, but you were happy to see him there. I know the other one people were talking about was what's his name? Who plays Shakespeare in Hamnet? What's his name? Paul Mescal. Yeah. He's. I know people were a little bit upset about him not making it. I thought he was good, but I think this is a solid 5.
Solid 5, yeah, definitely. All right, so moving on to Best Actress, Jessie Buckley for Hamnet, Rose Byrne for If I Had Legs I'd Kick You, Kate Hudson for Song Sung Blue, Renata Reisev for Sentimental Value, and Emma Stone for Begonia. I think the first one and the last one is the chalk picks, the ones that were going to be in there. I really like the eclectic nature of this list. I really liked Rose Byrne in that movie. I haven't seen Song Sung Blue, but I've heard good things about Kate Hudson in that. And of course, my bae, Renata Reisev for Sentimental Value. What do you make of this list, Derick?
It's fine. I know a lot of people were hoping that Chase Infinity was going to get nominated. I think that her getting passed over for Kate Hudson, a lot of people were not super happy about that. I'm glad that nobody from Wicked got nominated this year because Wicked for Good. Because I don't understand how Ariana Grande, who she tricked to get her nominated last year, because she is really bad in those movies. So yeah, I think this is, would have liked to have seen. I didn't see Song Sung Blue. I don't think anybody did. So kind of Kate Hudson is I don't know. I would have preferred to see Chase Infinity probably in here.
Yes, I probably would have. Well, yeah. Yeah. Again, just a very
But Jesse
interesting.
Buckley's gonna win either way, and she's
Sure.
my bae. That you talk about that's woo.
That's your woman. Yeah.
Her
You
and Emma
like
Stone. I mean, yeah,
you like the
yeah. I
Irish.
mean, redheads. They
That crooked smile she's got. Yeah.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
You excited for the bride, the Bonnie and Clyde, but with Frankenstein later in March?
I don't know about that one, man. That's stretching it.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Best Supporting Actor. We got Benicio del Toro, One Battle After Another, Jacob Elordi, Frankenstein, Delroy Lindo, first time nomination, which is crazy for Sinners, Sean Penn, one One Battle After Another, and Stellan Skarsgård for Sentimental Value. Good list here, I think. Really like to see Delroy Lindo in there. Interesting to see who's going to take it. I think for me this is a battle, no pun intended, between Del Toro and Sean Penn. What do you think?
They might split it, honestly. I
Yeah.
wonder if they will. I am also very glad to see both Benicio del Toro and Delroy Lindo. I think they're both somewhat surprising picks. I think Skarsgård might take it here, but I would love to see either Del Toro or Lindo take it because I was so happy. Especially Lindo was not expected at all, so it was really cool to see him honored like this.
Yeah, absolutely. Moving on to Best Supporting Actress, you have Elle Fanning, Sentimental Value, Inga Ipsetter, Lilius, Sentimental Value, Amy Madigan, Weapons, Wumi Musakutu, Sinners, and Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another. Just looking at the list, I don't have a favorite. I also don't know if there is a frontrunner here. How about you?
Yeah, I'm not sure. This is a good collection
Yeah.
of actresses, great performances. I liked all of these performances. This is obviously the only time Weapons is represented. There's only one swap that I would make. I would swap out Elle Fanning in Sentimental Value for Elle Fanning in Predator Badlands because as good as she's in Sentimental Badlands, I think she's better in Predator Badlands. And she actually made a good point on some red carpet event where she was talking about like my performance in I worked really hard in both of these movies, and because one is a genre film where I'm like riding on the back of an alien and there's special effects, it's not going to get recognized at awards. But because one is like a drama and it's half in Swedish, that one's going to get awards recognition. And I think that's a very valid point because she's great in both of them, arguably better in Predator Badlands. So why does this performance get recognized and the other doesn't? Besides the fact that, well, this is a Oscar movie. I'm like, well, the rest, it's not. We're not recognizing the whole movie. You're recognizing this one part, the performance. And if the performance is in a bad or otherwise, not notable movie, I still think it should be, honored.
Yeah, you make a really good point. Yeah, the Academy and just Hollywood and all of that stuff when it comes to awards and nominations are like, it's a cheap little, action movie, a cheap little genre thing. They don't really care about that stuff. I think it's getting better, well, obviously you mentioned Del Toro getting the Shape of Water Best Picture win. That's almost a decade ago, good Lord. I think we still got a long ways to go in some areas. I do want to mention this is probably at the place where one of the big snubs happened. Chase Infinity, for One Battle After Another, kind of the heart of that movie. No Best Actress, no Best Supporting Actress. There was a kind of the behind the scenes rumor that she was going to go for Best Actress, but then they didn't get a push behind it. It didn't want to do Best Supporting because it was just politicking and blah 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 blah. But anyways, definitely think she should have been recognized in either of those categories.
Yeah, like I was saying, she kind of got snubbed for lead. She probably is more of a supporting actor, honestly, even though she's the heart of the film, she's not the protagonist necessarily. So, maybe she should have been in supporting, but she was in neither. So.
Neither, yep. All right, let's move on to Best Adapted Screenplay. Begonia, Frankenstein, Hamnet, One Battle After Another, and Train Dreams. Yeah, I mean, the screenplay is always a tough category. You're like, what are we talking about? We're talking about the dialogue, talking about sex pieces, talking about whatever. I don't really have a favorite here. I mean, I liked Train Dreams. I started reading the book that it was based on. I think One Battle is impressive, just in the sense that it took a pretty meandering, what I heard of it, that's a pretty meandering book, and really wrote a really tight script around that. So any favorites here for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think One Battle After Another is for sure my favorite screenplay of these. You know, I I don't know that I love the screenplay for any of the rest of these. You know, Frankenstein was incredible, but it wasn't because of its script that stuck out to me. You know, I didn't see Begonia, as I mentioned. Hamnet didn't work for me as much as you, and Train Dreams is another vibes movie, so I don't know that the screenplay is what drew me to it.
Yeah.
So One Battle for sure for me.
One Battle, yeah. Best original screenplay, Blue Moon, It Was Just an Accident, Marty Supreme, Sentimental Value, and Sinners. I talked about Blue Moon when I saw it, talking about, the dialogue and how it's written like a play and it's shot really well and all that stuff. So that would be my favorite there. Just to get, Jeff Harpahani on stage would be great to see him win that. Sentimental Value, Yakum Trier's always been talking about, the people that worked with him always talked about how great of a screenwriter he is. So maybe that's in the lead. Then, of course, Sinners, Ryan Coogler writing and directing that thing's got to be recognized there. So any leads here you see?
For me, this is far and away Sinners. Sinners should win this. Sinners, the screenplay, I thought was phenomenal and critical. Has such amazing social commentary through it, while also just being just some really great, clever writing, incredible dialogue. So just by far, and I've actually only seen that in Sentimental Value. So who knows? Maybe it was just an accident. It has some amazing screenplay, but I doubt I'm gonna like it better than Sinners.
Yeah, fair enough. Next up, we have Best Cinematography. We have Frankenstein, Marty Supreme, One Battle After Another, Sinners, and Train Dreams. Now, going back and forth between two of them here, those being Train Dreams and One Battle. I like the composition of Train Dreams. The what's the director's name that's always compared to this to? Everyone's comparing it to the Terrence Malick, Terry Malick-esque, vistas and fields and sunsets and all that stuff. But going back to the One Battle After Another, the actual technical prowess and what they had to do to strap those giant VistaVision cameras to cars and the things they did with that on set and during the production of it. Sorry, I got to go with that. Even though Train Dreams is probably my beautiful looking movie, just the production of One Battle After Another, I would go with that.
I actually go for Frankenstein here. Frankenstein or Sinners. I think of that scene in Sinners where they're kind of revolving around, and that's such a cool scene. But I love the production design in Frankenstein. Just that ship, and you have the Toro. He's like, we are doing it all like the way they used to make the classic movies. Nothing here is fake. Nothing is CG. It just looks so big and beautiful. And it's like this old Hollywood production. I love Frankenstein.
Okay, that's interesting. You're like, oh, it's got good production design. There's an award for production design called Best Production Design.
So let me rephrase that. I love the cinematography, the staging, and all that stuff. The way that they're doing all that. I love Frankenstein. So that I'm tipping my hand to another award, but I think that those things are tied close together, and I really thought that the way this film was staged was incredible.
Okay. Best Director. Probably should have done that earlier, but here we are. Chloe Zhao for Hamnet, Josh Safdie, Marty Supreme, Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle After Another, Yakum Trier, Sentimental Value, and Ryan Coogler, Sinners. Now, later on, we'll be doing, not today, but later in the year, we'll be doing what will win, what should win, and all of that stuff. This is what should win is probably Sinners. Ryan Coogler wrote, directed, original movie, did all that stuff. Probably good to him. Like you said, looked amazing too, shot really well. Cinematography was outstanding. I'm going to probably say it's probably Paul Thomas Anderson, One Battle. I don't know why. It's just kind of politicking and that's kind of stuff, the behind the scenes stuff, which is terrible. But I'm saying Paul Thomas Anderson probably going to pick up Best Director there.
I think so too. But I think Coogler is. I think him and Coogler were both incredible. Like the
Yeah.
directing in both those movies blew me away.
Yeah, yeah. Let's do a couple more. Best animated feature is going to go to K-pop Demon Hunters next. It just is.
Name.
I
I
will.
hope
Yes, I
so.
will.
I certainly hope so.
Yes.
But what else is nominated,
What
Damian?
else
Let
is
the
nominated
people know.
is Arco, a movie I haven't seen. Elio, I saw that twice, was very good. Little Amelie, or The Character of Rain, and Zootopia 2. The Academy generally doesn't go for stuff like Zootopia 2, so I'm going to probably say, just on the the momentum of the songs and all this stuff, it's probably going to be K-pop Demon
I
Hunters.
certainly hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a Pixar film here nominated. I know Pixar is not what it used to be, so I could see that winning. I could see, sometimes these big. I do. Zootopia won. So
True.
I'm remembering correctly. So I don't think it's a given, but I
Yeah.
certainly hope so. K-pop Demon Hunters was on my list of best movies of the year, so I would love to see it honored.
Absolutely. Let's do one more. Let's do Best International Feature. Like I was alluding to before, we have It Was Just an Accident, The Secret Agent, Sentimental Value, Surat, and The Voice of Hijab. I've seen 3 of these. We'll probably check out Surat pretty soon. I've heard The Voice of Hijab is it's a tough watch. It's a tough sit. That's what I've heard. So yeah, really tight race here. Really, a lot of really fantastic films. One we'll be talking about pretty soon in what we've been watching. Man, that is a tough race, quite frankly. I want to say,
Yeah, I mean, 2 of these are nominated
Yeah.
for Best Picture.
They are.
So like, and the thing is, like, it could even go to a couple other, even the ones that didn't get nominated are really. It's not like a Parasite year where it's
Yeah.
like it's got it wrapped up. I really think that this could go any number of ways.
Yeah. Just on recency bias, I loved Secret Agent. I'm going to say probably the momentum of Yakum Shir being there again, being a writer, and Rena Risev being out there in Best Actress. I'm probably going to say sentimental value, just based on momentum there.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Keeping the momentum going.
Keeping it going. All right, so we can move on unless you want to point out any other noms here, any other takeaways you have for the 2026 2026 Oscar nominations.
I mean, I will say, that that No Other Choice getting blanked is a real shame. That movie, which I still have yet to see, but I'm a very big fan of Park Chan-wook. Unlike the Oscars, who seem to not be a fan of his for some reason. That's a bummer. But yeah, I would say, interesting crop of movies, and a very, I'll say, sometimes I feel like the Oscars just pick. They have their Best Picture noms, and then they're like, all right, and the rest of the nominations are just going to be these movies. And we saw that with, Sinners getting 16 nominations. Not that they didn't deserve them, but like One Battle, I think, also got like 13 nominations. So many of these categories are all going to the same movies, which is cool that, these movies are getting very recognized, but it's also like, yeah, but, what else, we're talking about film editing, and every single one of the nominees is a Best Picture nominee. You're talking
Yeah.
about an entirely new category, casting, and it's just the same thing. It's all just Best Picture nominees, and it's just like, all right, well, what was there any other movies that were good besides these 10? Did anything else, like, it's the same thing I was saying with Predator Badlands. If there was legitimately good things in these other movies that just don't happen to be Best Picture worthy, I would love to hear about them. But it seems like that is not the case for the Oscars.
Not the case for the Oscars. It is the case for the Blankies, which I took part in this week. Did some voting there. So you can, if you go to the Blank Check Discord, they have a document there. You can vote on the Blankies this week. So did that for myself. And what else was I going to say? This is the first time since the 1997 that a James Cameron film came out and was not nominated for Best Picture, which I thought was notable.
Yeah, because it was, as I'll get to in a second, not that good.
Not great. Not great. All right. So that was
Yeah.
that was the Oscar nominations. All right, let's get to what we've been watching. As I not alluded to, but explicitly said, taking part in the one movie a day challenge. I am a couple behind. I've seen 22 movies this year. First one up, I saw a documentary from 2024 by Johan Grimenprez about the Cold War, called "Soundtrack to a Coup d'État." This is one of the best documentaries I've ever seen in a very long time. It combines all the things of the medium, the visuals and music and stock footage and newly found footage, and puts all this stuff in context. And also does a cool thing that I wish. It does a cool thing that I haven't seen before, but from moving on from now, I want to see it in a lot more documentaries where it'll post a quote and it'll say, where is that quote directly from? Like you can actually go back and find wherever it originated. So I thought that was something so it was one of those things I never saw before. I was like, why don't people just do that more often? It doesn't star people, but it has people like Louis Armstrong and Dizzy Gillespie and Nina Simone. They're in here because, so if people don't know, people aren't aware, the U.S. for a long time has been, toppling governments in Central South America, but also in the Congo in the 60s. They assassinated the CIA helped coordinate one of the assassination of the first Congolese democratically elected Congolese presidents, and this is what that movie. This movie is what happened there. So, yeah, if you want a really nuanced look at what happened there and how the U.S. uses what's called soft power, where you basically have, like I said. Louis Armstrong and Nina Simone going to the Congo as on ambassadorship missions, but what they actually were there to do is kind of distract the populace from the CIA infiltrating the government there. So yeah, really, really amazing doc. Definitely recommend checking this out. It's on Canopy right now.
Yeah, I love a good doc, and I love Canopy, so we'll have to be checking this one out.
Yeah, it was amazing. All right, let's go to something we both watched. We both watched The Secret Agent. It's obviously directed by Kleber Mendoza Filho, starring Wagner Moura, Carlos Francisco, and Tania Maria. Derick, let's start us off. What did you think of The Secret Agent?
I quite like this film. I watched this when I was doing trying to get in the last movies of 2025. I saw this right before Christmas. And I will say, a lot of my movies, since we haven't done a regular episode, not counting our best of the year, since December 12th, I've got some backlog movies that I haven't talked about, and Secret Agent, especially since you talked about, I wanted to mention here. I already talked about how good the Wagner Moura performances in this. He's really phenomenal. This once again was a film about the corruption that was happening in the Brazilian government in the 1970s, and it feels very relevant for what happens today. It's a film about memory, and it's a film about familiar connections and trying to hold on to those. It's really great. It's got some interesting stuff. It's got funny moments. It's got very, very tense moments. Overall, though, I would say that there was something that held it back for me a little bit from being truly great, and that was just the tone of this thing was a little all over the place, and then also I just felt its runtime a bit. This film is almost 3 hours long, and you feel it. There's a lot of times when something will come up and you're like, that's interesting. I wonder if that's gonna come back, and the movie's like, nope. And I'm like, okay, cool, moving on. So I did like it, but it was it didn't quite break into great film territory for me.
Yeah, I would say
which is
so.
fine. Not every film needs to.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I might be more high on this movie than you are, but not by much. Just because I love a good split diopter shot, and this movie is full of them. Especially that scene where he's being, not chased by, but like being observed by the assassin, and they do that split diopter shot there. They do it a couple of more times as well.
They milked that shit in the trailer, I will say.
Do they? Yeah.
Yeah,
it's amazing, 70s noir, not a spy movie, but it's called, Secret Agent, because he is essentially doing, spy work, but not not because he wants to, because he's been put in that position of doing that, because he's a former professor who had his work, had his work shut down by, it wasn't the government, right? But it was like more like other competing
it was like somebody who worked for the university. It's a little. I think it was like government oversight kind of basically comes in and tries to take his research and his money and stuff.
Yeah, I was going to say, it reminded me a lot of Civil War because Wagner Moore is in both the movies, but it's also because both movies, I feel like, are about observing, like you said, memory and observing, and keeping that stuff, recording that stuff, and saying, not just recording it, but saying to other people, hey, I'm seeing this. Are you seeing this? What's going on? We need to do something about this, especially the opening scene where he's in some rural gas station and there's a dead body there. And he asks the guy, how long has this been there? And the guy's like, like a week. It's starting to stink, but nothing we can do. Can't call the cops. They're corrupt, blah, blah, blah. So it's really, I feel like this one and Civil War are kind of two, they work well together as a pairing because they're both about, looking at things and being honest about it and recognizing things and saying, hey, this is not okay. So yeah, really, really great little film. Enjoyed it very much.
Yeah. And I mean, it's always good to see international films like this doing well and being recognized.
Absolutely. All right. Another movie we both saw, 28 Years, The Bone Temple. Like I said in my TikTok review, I was like, this thing fucking rocks. I love this shit. This movie was incredible. One of those, like you were saying before, probably a genre movie that doesn't, not going to get recognized by the Academy. It did get recognized by David Erhlich in his countdown there. I think he put it pretty high. Derick, what did you think of 28 Years Later?
Well, that was the last 28 years later. That was
last year's. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So what did you think of its follow-up, The Bone Temple?
Yeah, so I mean, I think I'm on the record of talking about how I was very intrigued and interested by that first 28 Years Later film because it was doing a lot of stuff, setting a lot of interesting stuff up that didn't quite work for me. But The Bone Temple very much paid those off in an incredible way. I am more of a fan of Nia DaCosta's directing than I am Danny Boyle. Danny Boyle that was one thing that took me out of the first one was like all the weird bullet time stuff and like shots where it was just like, here's yeoman from the 15th century or whatever. And I would like, all right, that just didn't work for me. And there's none of that in this. It's just a much more human film, It's picks up right where that first one left off in a way that feels very, very, like, visceral. This movie, I talked about how Secret Agent, I feel like the tone switches a lot. This one does that in a much more deft way, I think. In the way that it'll have moments where Ray Fiennes is like dancing with a zombie with his big dick hanging out, and it's really sweet, This movie I think touches on the nature of evil and what it means to be human in some really profound ways. It has Ray Fiennes gives one of the greatest performances I've ever seen in any movie, and this is a movie that like I'm sure he won't be nominated when it comes to this time next year, but he absolutely deserves to. But because it's a genre movie that came out in January, that is like the fifth in a series of movies, I think it has zero to little chance.
Oh yeah,
he's incredible. Jack O'Connell as like this Satanist, like sadist psychopath. The Jimmy Crystal, he's so good. There's just so much interesting. The themes in this are so interesting, but it never feels like pretentious or like it's reaching for these grand aspirations that it can't reach. Everything that it does feels so visceral and powerful. When you first hear a zombie say moon, you're like, oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
and that last scene, which I won't spoil, where it's Ray Fiennes just going all in. I could not believe it. This is just, I've been thinking about it since I saw it last week, just nonstop. Already, I'm like, this has a very, very good chance for being in my best movies of the year at the end of the year. And it was the first movie that I saw of 2026.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. I really enjoyed it as well. I do agree that, Nia DaCosta's directing is, whether it's like, she specifically said, "Yeah, I'm not going to use any of that stuff." Or just decided, just didn't say anything about it because the first one, not the first one, but 28 years later, Danny Boyle's direction was like, "I'm going to use all these fucking cameras, like these, kind of a Matrix style iPhones and blah blah blah." It's like, yeah, but why though? Like this is probably a good decision to kind of let that stuff lay with the first one. Yeah, you're correct that Ralph Fiennes. This character that he's, I guess we'll spoil a little bit of it, but he's not going to play it anymore. But it's just, a very extraordinarily unique character. The scene that we alluded to where he's just rocking out Iron Maiden was one of my favorites scenes I watched in a theater this year. I really wish I saw it in a crowded theater because I could imagine people losing their shit at that. Do you think, Derick, we need to retire Everything in Its Right Place by Radiohead? Because when that came out, I was like, all right. It's kind of a cheat code song, sort of like, what was the one from Hamnet, Max Richter's?
On the Nature of Daylight?
Yeah, I feel like this is kind of that at this point, because I remember specifically seeing it in a fairly recent movie. What was the movie about? It was like an AI robot, and it was a child. What was that they had to go looking for?
Oh, The Creator?
The Creator, yeah, they used that in that too. And I was like, all right, I think we just need to retire Everything in Its Right Place for a little bit. What do you think?
I mean, I'm fine with it. I don't have a problem with it. Until it becomes Martin Scorsese and Sympathy with the Devil, I think you're good to use songs with lyrics. Like that's fine. So I didn't have a problem with it. I maybe have not seen as much stuff using it, but it didn't bother me at all.
Yeah. I'm trying to think what else I was going to say about this. Yeah, I love movies that just go for it, and this really did go for it. Some really intense torture scenes. I would really love to know how they shot the scene at the end, not the end of the movie, but the end of the section where they're in the farmhouse and it's burning down right behind them, and they're shooting a pretty complex, dialogue scene with this barn burning down in real time behind them. I would love to know, was that practical? Did they have to shoot that like multiple times? Did they have to burn a barn down multiple times and have like some Amish people come in and rebuild it real quick? I'd love to know how they shot that. But yeah, really one of my favorites of the year so far, definitely.
Yeah, and it's interesting because we talked about the difference between Garland and DaCosta, but these are both films that were written and shot around the same time, that were written by one of my favorite screenwriters, Alex Garland, who obviously, he wrote the first film that Danny Boyle made, or the first in this series, which is 28 Days Later. Just seeing the difference between, like, it's both his scripts, and I do think that the second script is a much more interesting, better script than the first one. But it's really cool to see the dynamic of, like, same screenwriter but different takes on directors, and kind of compare and contrast those.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so that was 28 years later. The Bone Temple, great name too.
Hell yeah, Bone Temple. Here there be bones. I fucking love it. Yep, Bony boys, rise up. and I had at the AMC, I don't know if you've been to one, but they always have their themed drinks, and they had, like, here's the Bone Temple drink, and I was like, fuck yeah, dude, I'm ready for this. And it had like little, like, it was like basically just like a mule, but it had like little bits of like some red food coloring or something in it that made it like some red dust that made it like a little bit spicy, and I was like, ooh, bones, this is my Bone Temple drink, I'm ready for this.
Awesome. Very cool. All right, one thing I just want to mention real quick is Industry coming back for its 4th season. This is probably one of the only TV shows, or not one of the only TV shows I watched this year, but one of them. With the one movie a day, really don't have too much time for anything else. So this is Industry is essentially like it's Wall Street. If people haven't seen the show Industry, it's like the movie Wall Street, or like Boiler. Was it called Boiler Room? The movie with Vin Diesel. From like late 90s, early 2000s.
What you're talking about, I have not seen it, so I have no idea.
Yeah, this is like Wall Street, except if Wall Street, they're trading stocks. In this one, they're not trading stocks, but they're manipulating what do they call that? Money. What's it called? The money funds. what are they called? Big money funds that they use to fund everything. They
Stocks and bonds and stuff. I don't know.
private equity funds, private equity
Oh
things. Yeah, private
yeah.
equity, whatever they're called.
I'm a poor. I don't know these things, Damian.
Right. So they do that. They manipulate that stuff, and so the first season was these new interns coming into this private equity company and just doing debaucherous stuff, drinking, smoking, blah blah blah, fucking, and all kinds of just dirty and backstabbing people and just doing debaucherous stuff and also doing terrible things with people's pension funds. Fourth season, definitely a pivot from the third season. Third season was kind of one of those, how shows will be like, especially shows that take place, in high school. Once the high school is over, you don't have that connective tissue. I think Buffy, back on things like Buffy, or when Buffy left school, they didn't have that sort of thing to go back to. This season, they've left the safe confines of Pierpoint where they used to work, and now they're just kind of on their own, starting new businesses. Then we have new characters coming in this season. This season we have, let me see, I just had it pulled up. Where did I have it? So we have Kieran Shipka, who was Don Draper's daughter in that show, but also Sabrina in the reboot of Sabrina.
And also, she was on. She was I forget her character's name, but she is one of the Airbenders. Tenzin's daughter in Legend of Korra. She is one of Aang's grandchildren.
Oh, nice. So we have her in this. Charlie Heaton from Stranger Things. We have Max Minella and cameo by Kel Penn in this season. So, yeah. Also, Kit Harington, Mr. Jon Snow, playing a guy that's nepo baby, but from the UK. So it's like going way back. They don't have nepo babies over there. They just have old money, and he's one of those guys. Right. But giving one of the best performances I've seen him give, one of the best performances I've seen on the show and just in general. So I'd recommend people check it out if you like Kit Harington, if you want, like, not the next Game of Thrones, but like I would say the next Succession. Succession ended, I want to say 2 years ago now. So if you're feeling a Succession-sized hole in your heart, check out Industry.
Cool, very cool. Have not watched Succession, so I don't have that hole in my heart.
Yeah.
But you're always banging the drum for this one, so maybe I'll have to watch it one of these days.
Yeah, it's very good. And one movie I checked out this year. Probably.
Are you ever going to give me a chance to talk about the movies that I watched, or are we just going to talk about all of the movies Damian's been watching?
Sure. Yeah. You wanna go? I didn't know. I think we have. I have a couple more than you, but yes, you may go ahead and talk about Mercy. This
Mercy. All right.
Yes. What'd you think of Mercy?
I thought it was very, very bad. I watched this because I got off work today and I wanted to sit in a very cozy theater, so I went to whatever was playing in the Dolby, and this just came out today. So this movie looks really bad from the trailers, and it is just as bad, if not worse, as you would expect. This is just a movie where it's like, Chris Pine made an AI that gives you 90 minutes to prove you're innocent before it kills you, but now he's the one on trial. And he looks at screens a bunch, and he's like, this guy was talking to my wife. They thought I killed my wife, but I didn't kill my wife. But I'm still a horrible fucking person. It's so bad. And the movie, I don't care if I was going to spoil it. The movie ends with like this big, ridiculous, convoluted thing where it's like, the guy who was my friend he's actually the one who murdered her so that I would be here because he wanted me to because I had a secret brother. And I'm gonna blow up Mercy and like blow up and that makes the bad guy the one who wants to take down this horrible fucking AI like nightmare system. And it's like, oh, but he's doing it because it was all this part of this major master plan of his. And it's so stupid and convoluted and fucking boring. And other than like being able to see Rebecca Ferguson look, just directly at me for like an hour and a half, there's nothing redeeming at all about this movie. Was all across the board one of the worst things I've seen. Just just stupid ass premise, a movie that has absolutely nothing to say, and it's like, well, at the end, humans and AI both make mistakes. Fuck that noise. I hate that shit. Fuck AI. This movie is some absolute fucking horseshit garbage. Chris Pratt is awful in it, and it was completely uninteresting. And it was just a way for me to kill some time and relax because I had a long day at work. And even then, I was like, man, maybe I should just be at home. Also, this movie, it's like this crazy. It's got all this crazy future shit, but it also wants to put product placement to any screen that exists. So like Ring cameras and shit like that. So they only set it in like 2029. And I'm like, okay, so this movie, this system of mercy gets implemented in 2027, which is fucking next year. And then like by a couple years later, they're like, oh yeah, like there's flying fucking cars, and like every screen in the world is like you can see and like go through like this insane system. And it's just like that all happens in a couple years. And also that means, because it's set in LA, that this was also going on when the Olympics were happening. Like it's just it's so fucking stupid. I hate this movie so much.
Wait, you're telling me the guy that directed Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter made a shitty movie? That's preposterous.
I'm like, when I saw, because I looked that up, and I looked at it, I was like, man, did he? Because I kind of like Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is funny because it's like, hey, this is a stupid, dumb concept. It's kind of fun. But I'm like, now watching it, I was like, did he think that was a good movie? Did he think he was making, like, he was like, man, I fucking cooked with this one.
Apparently he did. I like on his Wikipedia, they're like, yeah, the guy that pioneered the Screen Life films, Unfriended, which is good, Searching, which is good, and War of the Worlds, which was one of the worst movies ever made just last year. It's like, why would you include that one? And there was so many other better examples you could have given there. Yeah, that's very funny. All right, so be avoiding that. Thank you for taking the hit on that one. Let's see, go back to me. So yeah, I checked out many things this month, so I'll be going through them pretty quickly after you're done. One of them was Twinless, directed by James Sweeney, also starring James Sweeney and Dylan O'Brien. The premise is Dylan O'Brien's twin is killed or dies, and he goes to a support group with other people who have also lost twins, and there he meets this other guy named Dennis. Let's see, was it Dennis? Yes, he talks to Dennis, and they kind of hit it off friend-wise, because I think Dennis is gay and Rocky isn't, so they just kind of have a friendship, bonding over their shared trauma, and it goes in some very twisty and interesting ways. I really enjoyed this movie. Definitely, Dylan O'Brien's not somebody I'm really super accustomed with. Never saw the Maze Runner movies. Never saw Teen Wolf, the TV show. So yeah, nice surprise little movie there.
Yeah, I'm a fan of Dylan O'Brien's for sure. Especially you mentioned the Maze Runner. I think he's incredible in that. This is one of those movies that gets thrown out. Like, there was a lot of people playing twins and doubles this last year, and I think that's most of the context I had for this. Yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting take. It's like, okay, yeah, like about identical twins, and it's such a unique thing that, when you would lose, someone like that. So I think it explores a concept that hasn't really been explored in anything I'm familiar with. So, worth checking out, do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of probably the hidden gems of last year. Yeah.
Okay, for sure.
Yeah. All right. Back to you. Checked out the first video game. I'm gonna assume.
Wait? We skipped over the first couple that I got on the list. You know that, right?
Did I skip over the first couple? Oh, so Avatar.
Yeah, that's why you think you have. That's why you think I have so much fewer than you, because you just skipped over all mine.
I did skip over because okay. Apologies, sir. Talking about Avatar: Fire and Ash. I don't think did we ever talk about? Because I know I saw this in December. I don't think we ever chatted about this, have we?
Yeah, we did not. I saw this one in early January. And yeah, we can definitely chat about it now, because I wanted to bring it up because we never brought it up on the podcast. Yeah. And as I kind of alluded to, I don't think this movie is great. I don't love the first Avatar movie either. I think the second one is a big step up. I think it does a lot of really interesting stuff with the time jump and everything. And this movie honestly just feels like we're doing the first two Avatars again at the same time, especially when it gets to its finale. And I'm like watching the finale, and they're just like, hey, remember how Jake in the first one had to unite all the tribes and become the, Turuk Maktak and ride the thing, and everybody was coming for him and they had to fight him off. But also there was like that ocean battle on the ship, and then his family got kidnapped in the second one. And it's like all the beats from both those movies just get repeated on this one. It has absolutely nothing new to bring. It is a technical marvel, maybe one of the best movies of like looking movies I've ever seen. Uh, Even though I hated the high frame rate, I did see this thing in IMAX 3D with a high frame rate, and it just kind of it's almost like when you have a TV with motion blur on. I fucking hate that. It's really weird and takes me. I feel like I'm looking like a video game cutscene or something. Um, but yeah, I was not a fan of this. There's some interesting stuff that does with the new tribe that gets introduced. The Ash people, and it's interesting because it's like, okay, you have these colonial people that are coming and like taking over and taking all the resources. The white people have come in, and sometimes you have people that collaborate with that. Like they're collaborators that work with their oppressors. What does that look like when they show up on that scene in the base where they're like, Edie Falco was like, get these trash off my base, and all that stuff is going on. But there's also stuff like, I'm like, there were at least like 5 or 6 characters that are maybe dead but might show up again I'm like, what happened to Jermaine Clements? Like, is he okay? Like, he just kind of scurried off somewhere. And there's a bunch of characters that just like are either gone or they like fall to their maybe death, but don't worry, like, we don't show them dying, so we can use them again in the sequel if we want to. There's just so much of that. It just feels like Cameron is just leaning on all of his Cameron tricks, and the Academy has finally gotten wise to it.
Yeah. I mean, this is one of those things where I enjoyed the experience of watching it more than the film itself. I saw it in Limax with in 3D just because it's a spectacle. You got to go all out for the spectacle, right? But yeah, man, just this was like, holy shit! It's really just the second one again. With I guess technically more consequences because the whole city state they built there, whatever they're called, was there even a name for like the military that's on Pandora? They're on Pandora.
So,
yeah, so whatever they were, whatever compound they had built kind of came crashing down, so I guess there's some consequences there. But of course, oh my God, okay, it's a blockbuster, I get it, and it's an action blockbuster, okay, and you're probably going to make more in the future, okay, but like him, Quaritch, whatever his name is, Quaritch, just falling into, ambiguous smoke and fire and not seeing his dead body. I'm like, can you at least pretend like he's dead, maybe, or something? Yeah. I think you mentioned, the frame rate sort of going back and forth was hugely distracting, especially for somebody like me who plays video games and knows what good frame rate looks like and can tell the difference between 60 and 120 and all that stuff. I'm assuming it's not going that drastically, but it's going between 24 and 36 probably, right?
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't, even the jumping back and forth isn't what bugged me. It was just with a higher frame rate itself. I hated seeing that. It looks weird. And I know that, like, I'm not alone in thinking that, like, I don't like this. Like, like where it was making people, like when The Hobbit came out, it was making people throw up. It might be 60. I don't know. But
yeah. Like you said, Jermaine Clement has, I thought it was funny because he was like, when Jake Sully gets freed and he comes and Clement is interacting with him, he's like, dude, I'm a huge fan. I was like, all right, that's kind of funny, I guess, because he's like the only normal dude here, where everyone else is either wearing power loaders or they are a Na'vi or they have some sort of powers. I guess it was interesting seeing Clement being one of the only normal people interacting with them, right? But there were the battles with the airships were fucking amazing. That's probably the peak of this movie and maybe the series overall. Just seeing the scene where he's jumping down from the airship and jumping onto the balloon as is exploding around him was extraordinarily thrilling and exciting to see. That's the reason you go to these movies, is that spectacle. But yeah, it's just what was even the plot? What was even the yada? It was so funny that they yada him, bringing together all of the different tribes to face off in that final battle. It's just like, okay, he made some speeches and he made, he stirred people's emotions and then they had a battle. It's like, okay. Oh man. But yeah.
And the thing too is like between Avatar 1 and 2, I was like, oh wow, like there's so much has changed. There's been decades. He has a family now. Now they're going to this whole different environment. And this one, it feels like it's like, oh well, the last one ended 5 minutes. It's that thing that I hate, where there'll be a movie and there'll be a standalone movie, and then there'll be two sequels that will come out that will be basically a long 2-part movie. And I do think 2 kind of stands on its own, but it does very much lead into 3, which is just part 2, like Pirates of the Caribbean 2 and 3, or a more successful example of it is Back to the Future 2 and 3, because at least 2 and 3 are different movies and they change genres. But that whole thing of like, we're making these ones back to back, which these were shot back to back, and often when you have a movie that's successful, you have its sequel shot back to back, those movies very much become blended into one long thing.
Yeah, definitely don't want to spend too much time on this not great film, but yeah, impressive that he made these movies, and maybe we'll visit Pandora again sometime.
Yeah, well,
maybe,
probably. These movies make a lot of money. They cost a lot of money, but they make a lot of money.
They do. All right, and you checked out Anaconda, one of these movies that I would have seen if I had the time, and probably gone to Regal to see it for free with my Regal Unlimited thing. But tell me, what'd you think of Anaconda?
So yeah, I actually did a double feature of this. Rewatched the 90s Anaconda for the first time since I was a kid. Nice. And then went and watched the 2025 version, which is it's a very meta movie. It's about Jack Black and Paul Rudd's characters trying to remake like an indie version of that movie. And it's Jack Black, it's Paul Rudd, Steve Zahn is also there. He's hilarious. Thandie Newton, she's great always. But it kind of rings hollow for me, because it's like, wow, like this is a movie. It's like these guys. It's a movie about indie sensibilities that is made for the biggest budget with these huge movie stars and stuff like that. It's a movie that is, very much poking fun at its original movie, which is it's a movie you poke fun at, but it just. It felt a little bit like, it's like, oh, well, is Ice Cube going to show up? Where is J-Lo? There's a lot of that stuff constantly in the movie. So I didn't hate it, but it also just felt like a movie that doesn't justify its own existence. And I would have much rather have seen who, it's kind of one of those, like, who asked for a meta reboot of the Anaconda film? Like, it's weird that this thing exists, and it feels like it is always trying to justify its existence and show how smart and clever it is. And I'm just like, once again, the thing about it being like, it's about these guys and they just want to make this indie movie, but this itself is such a big Hollywood production that I'm like, and I could never really get over that.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Yeah, it's a good question. Like, who bankrolled this thing? How did they get? I don't know how to pronounce her first name. Thandie Newton. Thandie Newton.
She goes Thandie Way. She used to go by Tandy, but Thandie Way now, I think, is how she prefers.
Gotcha. Yeah, prestigious actress got in this movie. Would love to know a backstory of who was like, guys, this could be a thing. this beloved 90s classic, we got to do something. It reminds me a lot of the Tropic Thunder, of just like, let's make a movie in the jungle, like wasn't the movie they were making in Tropic Thunder gonna be, it was supposed to be like, not a reboot, but like an homage to those old Platoon type movies, right?
It's very much an homage to those type of movies, to the point where they even have like the iconic shot in Platoon where he's like gets on his knees and like puts his hands in the air, and they have the same musical cue play behind him. It's very much a reference, and kind of like really taking the what's the phrase, taking the
piss out of it,
taking the piss out of it, of those, like, Vietnam movies that were made by guys who had never been to Vietnam in like the 70s and 80s.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. So you watched a little documentary on
Yes. Well, we can
YouTube.
go back to you now.
You want to get back to me? Okay.
Yeah.
You
We've
done a
got two
couple?
left. Yeah. I've done a couple. Now back to
All
you.
right.
Yeah, we'll share the wealth.
All right. So, yeah, like I said, watching one movie a day allows me to watch some things I've always wanted to watch. I have an Irish fella who comes into the co-op quite often, and we chatted about Irish movies and Cillian Murphy, and he recommended I check out The Wind That Shakes the Barley. This is my first Ken Loach movie. Never seen anything that man has put out, but always wanted to. And I checked out The Wind That Shakes the Barley from 2006. It is set during the Irish War of Independence from 1919 to 1921, and also the Irish Civil War from 2022 to 23. Stars Cillian Murphy, Liam Cunningham, and Patrick Delaney. Whole bunch of Irish names. Patrick Delaney. Man, yeah, just so many movies from like 100 years ago. It's just like, god damn, are we just repeating the fucking early 20th century and the early 21st century right now? Because one of the first scenes in this movie depicts the British Black and Tans, which were like a paramilitary group, British paramilitary group that went around to their various colonies, especially Ireland, and just did things like we're doing today. Say your name in English, and where do you work? What's your name? Where do you live? Blah blah blah. Are you doing what you're supposed to do? You're not supposed to be here. Blah blah blah. Sounds like very similar things going on today. So that's really terrible to see. And yeah, it's just When It Shakes the Barley. It was a movie I've heard of before, right? But it also is a movie that's like, oh man, that feels like homework. And I don't know if you've had this happen before, where every time I put on a movie that I've avoided because it feels like homework, it almost never is. It's almost always a movie that turns out to be really very exciting. It kind of moves, and yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like homework. Doesn't feel like a historical, drama that's meandering or whatever. This is a really exciting little movie about Irish independence and the fight they had to go through it, and the sort of thing that happens where, spoilers for this thing or spoilers for a 100-year-old historical event, but they do eventually get the vote to have the independence. But then, very quickly, the thing that leads to the Irish Civil War is this thing that always happens, where you have the quote unquote more radical person who doesn't want any ties to the British Empire, where the deal that they made was basically to say, we'll still be part of the UK, we'll still be part of this empire, but we'll have, tentative independence. We'll be able to govern ourselves, but we still have to report back to the Queen and to the kingdom and whatever. So that is Patrick Delaney's position of we've been fighting this war for many, many years. We've lost a lot of people. We put so much time and effort into pushing these guys back. They finally conceded. They called a truce, and we just need to go along to get along at this point. And Cillian Murphy is of the opposite view of, no, the war is not over until every British troop is out of our backyard, and having that stance of, no, there will not be a truce, there will not be a clemency, there will not be a signed peace deal until every single British troop is out of Ireland, which is I think probably led to a lot of the troubles and things that came decades later of these guys are still there, they're still oppressing us, they're still occupying our land. And so yeah, very interesting movie to watch now.
Yeah, I mean, I want to definitely check this out, especially my last name is McDuff, so obviously some Irish blood in there, so would love to watch this one. Love Cillian Murphy, so yeah, this one's on my list for sure.
Nice. All right. So yeah, tell me about the first video game. I've always been, big. I'm a big gamer. I feel like I have a tentative grasp on the history of video games. Does this tell you? Is the title a misnomer? Does it actually get into what the first video game was?
Yes, it does. And the thing is, though, it is more complicated than you might think. This is a YouTube documentary from the channel Ahoy, who I have been getting very, very into recently. They've made some incredible video essays / documentaries. Really cool style. The style of this thing is kind of done like it's it's like those projectors, when you were in school, they would have the projector and they would have the different slides that come out, but it's done like, almost like the negative version of that. Like, it's mostly dark and you will kind of see these slides come up. So really, really cool looking film. And it just dives into, this history, really interesting history, but it also, what does it mean to be a video game? How do you define video game? Because it's like, well, a lot of people said Pong, but actually it's like this, and it keeps going back further and further, and it's like, well, do we classify this as a video game? Do we classify this? What about this thing that existed? It gets into some really deep, cool lore about, gaming as a whole, and just how we differentiate mediums between each other, how, because this is really one of the first new medium that we've had in hundreds and hundreds of years is video games. I mean, I guess a film, but still you can kind of point to what the first film is easily, for the first TV is, but this is even more recent than that. It's so fresh, like a lot of us have relatives, parents even. Most of our parents are younger than the first video game, especially depending on how you count them. But even if you go back and use the most loose definition and go back very, very far, our parents are older than video games, which is wild to think about, and how pervasive this industry is. So yeah, I would recommend this to any video game fans out there. So Damian, I would love to hear your thoughts on this if you do end up checking it out.
Yeah, I will definitely put that on my to watch list. All right, be checking that thing out. All right, back to me. Yeah, well, I have one, but also I watched all of David Lynch's movies that I haven't seen. Yeah, I watched a bunch of his movies that I hadn't seen yet. One of them being A Straight Story. Came out from 1999, one of the best movie years ever, as we've mentioned before on the show. Directed by David Lynch, starring Richard Farnsworth, Sissy Spacek, and Harry Dean Stanton. People don't know, this is essentially a movie about a elderly man whose brother has a stroke, and that man has no way of getting to his brother other than hopping on a lawnmower and driving 240 miles to go see his brother. It's it's one of those movies sort of like 127 hours that on its face is like, how do you make a movie about that? How do you make a movie about a guy stuck between a rock and a hard place? And how do you make a movie compelling about a guy just driving on a lawnmower for 240 miles? But they do. It's one of David Lynch's best. I really regret leaving it. You said, "Wow, okay."
Well, yeah, I was not expecting that.
Oh, yes. No, I didn't. I wasn't sure if you saw this or not. But yeah, it is. Yes, it's absolutely one of his best. It's very heart wrenching. It is so well acted by Richard Farnsworth. Harry Dean Stanton, spoilers, plays his brother, and his brother. We only see him for the last few minutes, but it's one of the best few minutes of his. Of the movie, and of it's an incredible performance in the sense that you only see him for a few minutes. So highly recommend this thing. It is really, really good. Yeah. And it's 112 minutes, and it's it's far and away David Lynch's most normal movie. Yeah.
I was gonna say, yeah, this seems like I kind of hear this and Elephant Man are kind of always thrown about as his most accessible movie, accessible movies. And this is his only PG movie too, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe so. Yeah. Maybe Dune. Let me see. It was Dune PG. Let me see.
Oh, it's G. This is G.
Yeah, wow. It's on Disney Plus. Yep.
Yeah, this is Disney. It's a fucking Disney David Lynch movie. So
Yeah. Man, I really wish Letterboxd would put the ratings on there. Do they have ratings on Letterboxd, or am I just missing it?
I think they are like under one of the tabs, because there's so many ratings from all over the world that I think they're all under one specific tab. Gotcha.
So yeah, that's rated G. To kind of if you can check that out with this one David Lynch movie you can watch with the whole family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yeah, probably the only one.
Yeah. So yeah, can I speak on the other two Lynches I saw real quick?
Yeah, go for it.
So I saw Dune finally. It's fine. It's really interesting to see, because I think I might have talked about this before, but I know that I've read the Dune books. I read all 6 of them. I read the first couple multiple times, and it's fascinating that Denis' first movie, the first Dune, ends where it ends, because he includes a lot of the book in that movie, and he also includes a lot of Lynch's version in that first movie. So it was a very interesting place to leave off. Yeah, I mean, it's an 80s sci-fi movie. It's, production wise, it kind of, is in lockstep. It's kind of in the general way that Star Wars was, that other sci-fi movies of its time. It's not any worse looking than one of them. It's not any better looking than any of them. I think
I don't know if I would say it looks a lot worse than a lot of Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back and stuff.
I mean, it's going for more, I would say. I think Star Wars uses a lot of the miniatures, and I think it uses it's better. I think yes, it definitely is better, but I think
I disagree. Because they had originally hired ILM, but Dino De Laurentiis fired them midway through, and and then went with the cheaper option. So and you can tell.
Oh yeah. Kyle MacLachlan is passable as Paul. It's I don't know how old he was during this, but he looks quite a bit older than what Paul is supposed to be in the book. I understand. Timothy Chalamet was older than him, but I think MacLachlan looks quite a bit older with that haircut as well. Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's not a great movie, dude. It's not a great movie, but it's funny to watch.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
definitely got taken away from Lynch,
Yes, absolutely. So there was that, and I also checked out Inland Empire for the first time, and this is it is a lot. It is it's 3 hours, and I think it's his last. If you're not counting Twin Peaks: The Return, it's kind of his one last feature that he really put out there from 2006. Stars Laura Dern, Jeremy Irons, Justin Theroux, Harry Dean Stanton. Man, it's all over the place. It's kind of a redo of Mulholland Drive in a lot of ways. An actress playing an actress, being an actress, playing a character who's experiencing the film that she's making in real life. It folded on itself multiple times, like Mulholland Drive does. I mean, it's a fucking wild ride. It's got 3.9 on Letterboxd. I gave it 3.5 stars, but I really don't know what I was looking at half the time. It is his. It's filmed digitally, so it's David Lynch at his most David Lynch. It's his ego let loose. Yes, it is the most David Lynch movie, I would say. So check out Inland Empire if you want to see the most David Lynch ever put to film. Yeah.
All right, fair enough. I love Twin Peaks. I have not seen enough Lynch stuff, but I need to watch this one for sure.
Yeah. That's the other thing I'm doing this year. So I'm completing a lot of filmographies. I completed Sofia Coppola filmography. I completed who else did I finish up earlier this year? Oh, the Wachowskis. I finished up their movies this year. I'm probably going to try to focus on Catherine Bigelow. I watched Point Break for the first time, so I'm going to probably try to finish up her filmography. So yeah. The blank check. I got the blank check bug. Finishing up filmmakers' filmographies. Yep. They are cool. Yeah, they're doing Lynn Ramsey right now. She only has 4 movies, so I'll probably finish up with her. I saw Die My Love. I've seen We Need to Talk About Kevin, so I probably will watch movies along with them this time. So yeah. A lot of stuff on the docket this year.
Very nice.
Yeah. All right, let's finish up with you. You checked out Stranger Things season 5. Did you see any? Did you go to the theater for this at all?
I did. Because
nice.
They were playing the final episode for just 2 days on because it came out on December 31st. So I watched this on New Year's Day. One of the last showings, and it was still absolutely packed. Theater full of people. Before I get to the finale, though, I will talk about the season as a whole. It was obviously released in 2 volumes, and then the final episode. This season is getting very, very, very negative reviews online from people who, in my opinion, are not very media literate, to the point where there was a whole conspiracy theory where they were like, there's going to be a whole new episode and it's going to be like everything that happened was all in a dream. There's a lot of talk of plot holes and stuff like that, which there's a difference between things that are not shown and resolved in front of your eyes and just a plot hole. And the internet doesn't understand that, and it's very annoying. There is legitimate criticisms to be made against this show. I think that going back to season one, this show has treated its minor characters very poorly, and it's treated its main characters with kid gloves, where it feels like nothing bad is ever going to happen to any character that's been around more than one season, and to the point where they keep adding more and more characters, obviously, but because no one is ever killed off or sent away or anything like that, by the end of the show, there's just like this huge room full of people, and there's way more characters than they know what to do with. And you never feel like they're ever going to be in danger. It does some cool stuff, but a lot of the same problems that I had with season 4, or going back even all the way to season 1, are still present in season 5. That said, I think that the pacing of this season is significantly better than season 4. There's some moments that hit, there's some moments that don't. Some of the tension from season 1 has disappeared. It feels a lot more like a kid's thing nowadays. But going into that finale, after having spent almost a decade watching Stranger Things, I was hyped, and seeing it in a huge theater full of people cheering and screaming and like getting excited, and watching this a little bit overlong, but for the imperfect show it was, for the imperfect season 5 it was, I don't really see another way you could have ended it than this kind of ending. It's very safe, it's very by the numbers, but that's what this show has been for the last 4 years, if not its entire run. And it felt like the end of a D&D campaign in a lot of ways, which is very much what it was going for. I thought it was very successful at that. I will say that every season, I think every single season ends with the same kind of fake out thing. This one ends with a similar one, although it is a little ambiguous here, which I appreciated. But yeah, overall, a little bit of mixed bag. I was satisfied with this. It was not a letdown finale like some other ones that I've seen.
Gotcha. Yeah. I've seen the first 4 seasons. This one's probably going to be put on the back burner as well with my one movie a day challenge this year. There's other really great shows that I, for some reason, did not watch the last season of. Most famously for me, Mad Men. I watched all of those seasons for that, except for the last one. So yeah, I definitely don't want to leave this hanging. I don't want to leave this one hanging as well, because I've heard good to great things about this one. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad, because I feel like the whole internet has only been incredibly negative to it. So I'm glad that somehow some good stuff got back to you.
Yes. 1 second before we go to best, we've been the most anticipated stuff coming out this year. I checked out Roofman, really enjoyed that. Gave that 3.5 stars.
Oh, nice.
So I gave that 3.5 stars. Really enjoyed that. Checked out The Founder. I've watched half this movie on YouTube Shorts and TikToks over the past 6 months. I was like, all right, I'm gonna finally sit down and watch this entire thing from start to finish. I was like, all right, yeah, I saw most of this already. I saw most of this already. Fair. Yeah, so really good, really good movie about the founding of Mickey D's. I watched the King of Comedy again, trying to. I'm really close to finishing up Mr. Scorsese's filmography. Checked out the King of Comedy, gave that 4 stars. Really enjoyed it very much. And what else did I watch? I think that was about it. Yeah. So hopefully fill out some filmographies this year.
Very nice. Yeah, got a lot of stuff to check off the list. So that'll be good.
Busy year this coming year. Speaking of busy years, most anticipated lists. Always enjoy doing this. I think we talked about our list from last year. It was a mixed bag. I know I had some safe bets from last time, some stuff that really didn't hit at all. Life of Chuck was not great. Big Bold Beautiful Journey didn't even see. Captain America Brave New World was a big letdown. But let's try this again. Take another swing at this year. See how we do.
See how this goes. Yeah.
See how this goes over the next 12
I mean,
months.
I had Mission Impossible fucking Final Reckoning as my most anticipated. So,
Big again. Speaking of David Look in his montage, that was a big part of his montage this year, which I think he did really well. That movie fits really well as a piece of a montage, but not as a movie itself, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, that final scene that he featured prominently was amazing.
Yes.
Like one of the best movie moments of the year. It's just too bad it was in such a bad film. The rest of it was just not good. Like that scene elevated to like a 3-star movie, on its own.
Oh yeah. All right, Derick, the most anticipated movies of 2026. Kick us off. What's your number 10?
My number 10 is uh, Greta Gerwig's uh, new start of a new series on, or a new film series on Netflix. And it's a series that we've seen before, but not this one before, because it is going to be Narnia: The Magician's Nephew. So I'm excited for this. I'm excited to see. This is a big fantasy property. It's one of the most famous fantasy properties of all time. She's actually going to be doing these in order. Most of these adaptations start with Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, which is the first written, but it's not the first chronologically. So I'm just very curious to see what she does with this. I love I'm a big Lord of the Rings fan. I don't love the 2000s Witch in the War or Narnia series. I never read the books. But hey, we're getting a major director working on one of the major pieces of fantasy from the 20th century. I'm all in.
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't know it was a series. Right?
You didn't know it was a book series? You thought it was just one book?
No, I didn't know. Did you say it was going to be a series, or it's going to be one movie, right?
A film series.
A film series.
It's going to be a film series. Yeah,
gotcha,
this is the first film.
The Magician's Nephew. Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah. I think they were mocking that on the Big Pick. Like, okay, it's an interesting title. Okay.
Take it up with C.S. Lewis.
Yeah, right. All right, that was your number 10. My number 10. And again, I think I'm going to start going from now on as I do with like my top 10 of the year, best movies of the year. My most anticipated of the year is going to be like from my heart. From my heart. I'm going to stop listening to what other people are saying, the most, the biggest movies or whatever. I'm just listening to my heart. So with that, I have Jane Schoenberg's new film, Teenage Sex and Death at Camp Miasma. This stars Hannah Einbinder, Gillian Anderson, and Patrick Filcher. A queer filmmaker is hired to direct a new installment of a slasher franchise. The director fixates on the prospect of casting the final girl from the original movie, and the two women descend into a frenzy of psychosexual mania. So Jane Schoenberg directed our favorite movie of 2024, 23, I want to say 2024.
And when you say our, you mean your.
Yes, of course. I saw the TV Glow, yes, from 2024. Mm-hmm. Yeah, my favorite movie of that year. So yeah, definitely looking forward to this.
Okay, yeah, I mean, this is the first I've heard of it, but sounds right up your alley.
Right up my alley. Yes, exactly. What's your number 9?
My number 9 is, they're coming out with a Hunger Games movie, so I've got to put it on my list. I'm a huge fan of the Hunger Games novels and the Hunger Games films. But it's going to be a little bit low because, as I have mentioned previously on this podcast, I thought the book was just all right. It felt very unnecessary, but I'm always interested to go back to this world. So yeah, it's going to be the Hunger Games, Sunrise on the Reaping. Getting some interesting casting here. You're getting McKenna Grace as Maylee's daughter, who that is. Going to be one of the main characters. You got Jesse Plemons playing young Plutarch Heavensbee, so he's the young version of Philip Seymour Hoffman. You got Ralph Fiennes, who we were talking about, of course, is going to be younger or middle-aged, I guess, President Snow. And then you've got Glenn Close, so Ben Wang from The Long Walk. So some really good casting. Maya Hawke playing Wiress. Elle Fanning is going to be the young Effie Trinket, so that is, of course, the what's her name? I'm spacing on her name, but Mahogany.
Mahogany.
What's that actress's name? Who's in the Hunger Games?
Not sure. The original, or are you talking about?
Yeah, Elle Fanning is playing the young. She's the one who's Mahogany. She's like a famous actress. She's in
Elizabeth Banks.
Elizabeth Banks, yeah, she's playing the young Elizabeth Banks. So
Effie,
good casting. Yes, good casting in this. Very, and I liked the book just fine. So I'm excited for the movie.
All right, yeah, maybe it's definitely give me a reason to catch up on the first one, the first prequel, whatever it was called.
Oh yeah, so, Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I think is very, very good. I think that's a much better book, and I'm a fan of the movie as well.
I will be definitely checking it out. All right. My number 9, sticking with my weird esoteric films by Oh my god, I can't think of anything. It's very late here. We're not recording
Say,
quite
I'm
late.
glad. I'm glad it's both of us.
Yeah, yeah. What do you call the director? Yeah, an auteur director, put out many things over the past few years. Luca Guadagnino's new film Artificial. The tagline is not a tagline, but the synopsis is described as a comedic drama set in the world of artificial intelligence, or in the period at OpenAI in 2023 that saw CEO Sam Altman fired and rehired in a matter of days. This stars Andrew Garfield as Sam Altman, Yura Borisov, Jason Schwartzman, Cooper Hoffman. So it looks like we might be getting some sort of social network. Definitely getting that feeling from, the Andrew Garfield.
We're getting another social network this year, but
we are. So yeah, Andrew Garfield playing Sam Altman, so that gives me, strong social network vibes from that. So I'll be checking that out later this year.
Interesting. All right. Yeah. Well, curious to check this one out.
Yeah. What is your number 8?
My number 8 is a movie that is very unexpected, which is a sequel / follow-up to a movie from Quentin Tarantino, The Adventures of Cliff Booth, and I would be very skeptical about a non-Tarantino sequel, especially to one that was so, shut and closed, open and shut. But because it's directed by David Fincher, I'm like, there's some weird alchemy happening with this. Like, Brad Pitt's coming back. Are we gonna get a Leo cameo? Like, Timothy Olyphant is apparently coming back too. So yeah, I don't know what the hell this thing is gonna be. But you know what? If you're gonna make a weird spin-off of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, get David Fincher to make it. I'm all on board for that.
Yeah, speaking of the social network, my number 8 is also The Adventures of Cliff Booth. Cannot wait for this.
How about that?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah. I mean, give me more Brad Pitt and the golden hour, the golden goddess himself, Brad Pitt. Elizabeth Debicki, again, attractive woman. Yeah, absolutely. Cannot wait for this.
Yeah, me either. Should be a good one.
Could be. All right. What is your number 7?
So my number 7 is cheating a little bit, because my number 7, I made this list, at the beginning of the year. We are obviously recording now 3 weeks into the year, and this is a movie that I've seen. It's a movie actually we talked about on this episode, and that was 28 years later, The Bone Temple. I put it on the list because, as I said, that first one didn't really work for me, but I was very interested in it. And the more that came out of this, the Alex Garland script, a lot of the trailers intrigued me. So it was my number 7, and so far it's paid off. My number 7 is a good movie, so it bodes well for me.
Yes. On the big pick, Amanda had The Rip, which came out, I think, like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. So yeah, she also had a little cheat there as well.
Yeah, need to see that one too. I'm a huge Joe Carnahan fan.
Yeah, it looks interesting. All right, so that was your number 7. My number 7, let me see here. Where did it go? All right, my number 7 is from James Gray. It's called Paper Tiger. The synopsis is: 2 brothers pursue the American dream but get entangled in a dangerous Russian mafia scheme that terrorizes their family, testing their bond as betrayal becomes possible. So this looks like it goes back to We Own the Night territory for James Gray. A crime thriller from James Gray. I've seen a few of his films. I saw Armageddon Time from 2022, The Lost City of Z, which was really a great little find there. I heard a lot about it. I heard a lot about Robert Pattinson in that, and I actually really, really enjoyed that. I also loved Brad Astra playing Dad Astra in Ad Astra. The stupid pun. Love James Gray, one of the most underrated directors working today.
Nice.
Yeah. So we're checking that out. That was my number 7. What is your number 6?
My number 6 is a movie from Phil Lord and Chris Miller, starring Mr. Ryan Gosling, which that sounds like a great pairing.
Yeah.
That would be Project Hail Mary. This is a sci-fi film based on the book by Andy Weir. So very excited to see where this goes. I was kind of on my radar. I didn't realize who was directing it at first. Because I'm such a big Gosling fan, I'm excited to see him. But that pairing sounds very exciting. It's also, of course, written by one of my favorite writer's Drew Goddard. So really, curious to see what he does, because he also adapted Andy Weir's other book, The Martian, which I thought was fantastic. So really excited to see this one coming out. And yeah, I've heard really good things about the book. So very excited for this film.
Yeah, I listened to the audiobook. I love Andy Weir. Listen to the Martian audiobook as well. Yeah, he's a very fun writer. What was I going to say? I'm just looking at Ryan Gosling, and the background for the Project Hail Mary on Letterboxd has him in a very Chris Evans in Knives Out looking sweater. So that's does things for me. Sandra Hüller, it's an amazing casting. Sandra Hüller, who is really big actress now, but kind of broke out internationally with An Enemy Fall in 2023, and Zone of Interest in the same year. Yeah, really, really interesting casting there. So yeah, really looking forward to this.
Yeah. Me too, obviously. Number 6.
Yes, my number 6 is the drama. This has got a trailer out, a couple of trailers out now. This stars Zendaya and Robert Pattinson. The premise is a happily engaged couple is put to the test when an unexpected turn sends their wedding week off the rails. So, yeah, I don't know what the premise is. I don't know what the movie is about, but, Zendaya, Robert Pattinson in a romance drama thing, sure. Sign me up. Sign me the fuck up.
Yeah. I'm curious. Like, I'm excited for this one too. I feel like it's interesting because our lists are I feel like hitting all of the bases, because your list is very much like, oh, here's this interesting premise with these like good actors and directors and stuff like, and like kind of like more indie. So where I'm big blockbuster franchises, stuff that's based on IP, so
Yeah.
With one exception that's coming up, but even that is like, well, the name, the director is practically an IP. So interesting the way our two lists are going, and that's why I feel like a lot of times my end of the year list isn't as lining up with my anticipated, because I'm like, yeah, Jurassic Park Dominion or Jurassic Park Rebirth was never going to be that good, but
Yeah.
I'm excited for.
Yeah, inside all of us, there are two podcast hosts. There's Derick and there's a Damian.
Yes, exactly.
Exactly. All right, so that was your number. We did 6s, right? That was our 6s?
6s, yes.
Yep. All right, what's your number 5?
So number 5 is, I think, where our lists will start to converge a little bit. But I'm still, of course, this is one where it is from a big, an indie, acclaimed director, but it's also a big franchise, and that is Dune Part 3. Obviously, the first 2 Dune movies were a lot of fun. Well, maybe not fun, but great movies. Especially the second one I was a big fan of, and I'm curious to see what Denis Villeneuve does with the end of this one and what happens in that desert.
Yeah, I'm really excited too. Like I said, I've read the books multiple times. I'm most interested in, because it goes in wild places very quickly, but not until like book 3. And Dune Messiah is an adaptation of book 2. So 2 is the second book is like, it's like a bridge between the first and the third. Obviously 2 is between 1 and 3, but it's there. It just takes off from there. It's like a springboard, and I'm really interested to see if he teases anything from the third book. Like, I cannot convey to you the depths to which the series just goes off the rails after the second book. So I'm very, very interested to see how he even adapts the second book to not tease out too much of what the future holds.
Yeah. Very, very excited. Don't know the series where it goes that much at all, other than like stuff that I've heard in passing on the internet. So
Yeah,
really, really interested in this one, and how it's going to be the kind of end of this trilogy.
Yeah. All right. So that was your number 5. My number 5, sticking with the weird, esoteric, artsy-fartsy stuff. I have a movie from Kogonada. His movie in 2017, Columbus, was one of my favorite that year. We both really enjoyed After Yang. I still have yet to see A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey, but what I've heard of it is not great. He's coming back this year with a movie called Key. Not Key, Z-I. The premise is, in Hong Kong, a young woman haunted by visions of her future self meets a stranger who changes the course of her night and possibly her life. This stars Michelle Mao and also reteams with his Columbus actress Haley Lou Richardson. So definitely excited for this one.
another movie that I had not really heard of before this.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I like Kogonada, so it's curious to see this one. And
Yeah.
it's so funny because a lot of these movies that aren't really on my radar, a lot of the time end up being some of my favorites at the end of the year. So we'll see if that's the case with this.
Nice. All right. What is your number 4?
My number 4 is going back to the franchise well, and that is, of course, Toy Story 5. I think that I dare anyone to find a better run of 4 films than in a franchise than Toy Story, Toy Story, Toy Story 2, and Toy Story 3 and Toy Story 4. The first 3 are a perfect trilogy. The fourth one is a really good epilogue to that. So I'm just like, where do you go from there? But hey, Toy Story, like, it's a series that is near and dear to my heart. The first one came out when I was 5 years old. I've grown up with these films over my entire life. These characters mean so much to me, and I'm always going to be on board for Pixar, especially Toy Story. Like, I don't know that there is a franchise that has been as consistent and as meaningful to me in my entire life. And you know what? We're getting a lot of the gang back, but we're also getting some newcomers, including Greta Lee is the kind of like the kid like pad that she plays with. That's kind of like the villain. You're getting Conan O'Brien in this. So yeah, Anna Faris is going to show up. Craig Robinson, of course, with Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, Joan Cusack, all the classics coming back. I don't know how you're going to get Tom Hanks and Tim Allen back together again with the way that 4 ended, but you know what? If anybody can do it, it's Pixar and Andrew Stanton. Who is one of my favorite Pixar directors. He did WALL-E, he did Nemo. So would love to see. He's long been with the company. Him finally get a chance to direct one of these Toy Story movies.
Yeah, I will be there. Maybe not day 1, maybe week 1, week 2, maybe. But yeah, definitely interested in checking that out. All right, there's your number 4. My number 4 is still going with some weird stuff here. We've got a satirical black comedy directed by Ruben Östlund of the Square and Triangle of Sadness fame. The movie is called The Entertainment System is Down. The premise is the passengers of a lengthy flight contend with their boredom as the plane's entertainment system is broken. Now, sounds weird, sounds out there. Listen to this cast list. We have Keanu Reeves, Kirsten Dunst, Daniel Bruhl, Samantha Morton, Nicholas Braun, Tobias Menzies, Vincent Linden, Daniel Weber, many other people in this movie. It's like that's what piqued my interest. Rupert Östlund, great director. Loved a lot of what he's done, but that cast list, it cemented it for me. This is looks to be a very interesting film.
Man, Damian, I don't even know where you're pulling this shit out of. Like, you're just getting all these weird ass movies I've never heard of, and like, you know what? More power to you. So we'll see how like when you said the name of the movie, I was like, are you just making shit up now?
For those that don't know, I listened to the Big Pick podcast, and I got most of those from there. So if you look at their list,
all right.
After we're done here, I'll rattle off their list, and that's pretty much where I got all these from.
Well, that makes sense.
Yes. Do your research, as they say.
I just looked at a list of movies that were coming out, and I found
Fair enough. All right, that was my number 4. Derick, what's your number 3?
My number 3, and this is the one I was hinting at, where I said that the director himself is a brand in many ways, and that is, of course, Steven Spielberg. And he is once again, for the first time in a long time, returning to Alien films. And Steven Spielberg and Alien films, I don't know about you, but it always works for me. And that is going to be Disclosure Day. We have talked about in our Best of the Year episode how much we love Josh O'Connor. So he's going to be in this movie. Emily Blunt. We don't really know what's going on other than Steven Spielberg and Aliens, but that's all you need to get to number 3 on my most anticipated list. Yeah,
me too. It's not on my list, but fucking Spieley can do no wrong, pretty much. So yeah, right? I would definitely.
Especially when he's making alien movies, like when was the last one he got? Like War of the Worlds or something?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Yeah, been 20 years.
So yeah, speaking of blind spots for me and Spielberg blind spots, they talk about Scorsese trying to fill in his stuff. I don't know if, other than Lincoln, if I saw any Spielberg movie from the 2010s. Did not see War Horse. I did not see Ready Player One. I know there's a couple of others in there that I have yet to see. But yeah, definitely want fix that this year.
Okay, all right,
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, so go back to see some recent Spielberg. I mean, it's kind of hit or miss his recent stuff, but it feels like he's getting back to his roots with this one.
Yeah, alien stuff, Close Encounters, E.T. Yeah, a lot of stuff. A lot of the early Spielberg was Alien the Beast. All right, there's your number 3. My number 3 is where I put Dune Part 3. We already spoke of it. Cannot wait for that thing to come out. All right, Derick, what's your number 2?
Yeah, and this is where I think maybe the lists converge. I think that we'll probably have the same top 2 picks, but I'm not sure if the same order.
Yeah.
But of course, my number 2, it's an event movie. It is It is the biggest franchise of all time. It is bringing everybody everywhere back. This is Avengers Doomsday.
Yeah.
So yeah, very very excited for this one. People have been forecasting the end of Marvel, but we'll see how this one goes, because this could be bad, or it could be holy shit. Like, just looking at the tagline here on Letterboxd: the Avengers, Wakandans, Fantastic Four, Thunderbolts, and X-Men all fight against Doctor Doom. Plot TBA. Fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah. I wasn't in the room. You were in the room when Mr. RDJ was announced playing Doctor Doom. Yeah, and we will see what it is about. Very quickly, do you have any theories? Is he Doom? Is he the real Doom? Is he a fake Doom? What do we think's happening there?
I think he's a real Doom. I don't know why he would be a fake Doom, but I've not been following a bunch of nerds on the internet with all their theories.
Okay.
But
all right. You're on a podcast talking about movies. I think you're a nerd. I think you're a fellow nerd.
I didn't say I wasn't a nerd, but I'm just like, well, look who shows up in you can see in 3 frames of this trailer that it's actually his fake cape.
His fake cape. Anyways,
in issue 169 in the year 1975, we see that the fake Doctor Doom has this cape, in which is the same cape that is in this one. You know what? I'm not here for that. I'm just here to watch a fucking movie, man.
Okay, nerd, put the fries in the basket. All right, let's go. Okay, so that was your number 2. Yeah, we do have flipped. Yes,
okay.
Number 2 is probably your number 1. Christopher Nolan, The Odyssey. Talking about the Trojan War with Matt Damon, Tom Holland, Anne Hathaway, Robert Pattinson, Zendaya. So much Robert Pattinson, Zendaya this year. We got the drama. We got Dune Messiah. So much Zendaya and Robert P. This year. Cannot wait.
Yeah, I mean, very well put. And yeah, that transitions perfectly into my number 1, which is, as you correctly theorized, it is The Odyssey.
Yeah.
This is Chris Nolan making arguably, besides the Bible, I would say the most famous story in the history of the world, and maybe at least in the Western world. It starts, like, as you correctly said, it starts with the Trojan War. And there is I don't know if you've seen the teaser trailer, but it starts with the Trojan horse. Of course, The Odyssey is the story of what happens after the Trojan War, of Odysseus's long journey back to Ithaca. But yeah, I mean, it's Nolan. He's making the most epic story into the most epic film. It's just going to be Greek mythology and badassery, and Matt Damon as Odysseus. Like, I am so hyped. I'm going to try and see this thing on like 70 millimeter. I'm going to try to go to like Universal City Walk or something.
Nice.
I mean, probably not the first week, because I know those tickets have been sold out for a year, and the people are like reselling them for like $300. I hate scalpers. Yeah. But I am so fucking hyped for this movie, and this is one where I think it has a sight unseen. This being is anticipated for me, both because it is something that from a director, from a story that I know well, that I'm excited for, but also I think this could be a heavy hitter and just like a great movie that gets a lot of Academy Awards recognition at the end of the year.
Yeah. Is Nolan's last movie won Best Picture, got Best Actor, so dude's on a roll. Dude is on a generational run, as they say.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So that was our top 10 most anticipated movies of the year. Don't have too many, honorable mentions. There's of course things just come out, throughout the year. It was holy shit. Where did that even come from?
Right.
like I mentioned before, The Bride coming out this in the next few months. The Moment, the Charlie XCX movie is coming out as well. Many things still yet to come to be announced. We got Devil Wears Prada Part 2. We got The Social Reckoning. We got Sense and Sensibility. We got many things coming out still to be announced, and many things to be excited for this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few others I'll just shout out. Honorable mentions. You got Spider-Man: Brand New Day.
Oh yeah.
Obviously, you've got Kaido vs. Acme finally coming out. You've got Werewolf from Robert Eggers.
Yes.
You mentioned Social Reckoning. You've got Steven Soderbergh, always has a banger he's got The Christophers coming out with Ian McKellen. Ready or Not 2, Here I Come. Love Ready or Not 1. So I'm very hyped for this. We talked about how much we love weapons. Zach Krager is doing Resident Evil.
Oh yeah.
I love Resident Evil, and then I think it's called Mother Mary, the film from what's his name? He's one of my favorite filmmakers. Now I'm spacing on his name. David
Lowery.
David Lowery, thank you. So excited for that one too, because I love him. I don't know anything about the film, but it came very close to being on my list. Narnia just edged it out. I'm excited for all those movies.
Yes. A couple more. I just had one right here. Well, yeah, you mentioned Regenerate 2. We got Terrifier 4. It's on the docket. You got the Michael biopic. Supergirl. Did you see who's in that and who's he playing? You're avoiding all spoilers for that.
I am avoiding all spoilers.
Okay. Mortal Kombat 2. Masters of the Universe, Super Mario Galaxy, so many things. Yes.
Yeah.
Gonna be a big old year. All right, so there's
it's gonna be a good movie year. Calling it right now.
Yes.
Movies, baby. Movies, cinema, film. All right, movies are back, baby. We're gonna have and this thing is first movie, 2026 movie I saw was 20 years later. Knocked that shit out of the park. So I'm like, it's going to be a good movie year. Don't worry about Mercy. It's going to be a good movie year.
Exactly. All right. So with that, we got some things coming up on the docket. Do you want to do Letterboxd assignments? Do you want to go straight to next time and all that stuff?
Your Letterboxd assignments are the ones from last time that we both watched and talked about. So
we did watch and talk about them? Got a new one?
We did. We did new ones. So
fresh ones.
Well, we did. We haven't done. We did them. We haven't. I don't remember what yours is, but I haven't watched mine, which was Philomena yet. So I can save that for next time. But
you're gonna save yours.
These are outdated. Yes, the ones on the docket are outdated.
Yes. Okay. So I'll go to my watch list. Grab a new one for myself. It'll shuffle. And I'll do All About My Mother. Again, talking about movies from 1999. Pedro Almodovar's All About My Mother. It's on my watch list for next time.
You didn't want to go back and see which one you had done last time?
I did not write it down, so that's in the ether.
So it's gone forever.
So it's all
gone. If only we had a way to find out what it was, but alas.
Nope, it's not. Definitely wasn't recorded. Let's see. My mother. Okay, so do that for next time. And for next time, January 30th, like I said, Send Help, new Sam Raimi. What was the last Sam Raimi flick this man has done? Want to take a guess? Let's see.
I can't remember. You're going to say it, then I'm going to be like, of course.
It was a Marvel movie.
Oh, right. Of course. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness.
Yes. Then before that was Oz, the Great and Powerful.
Oh, that is a bad fucking movie.
It is. Never even seen it. All right. Same week, we have a movie called Iron Lung. Speaking of things nobody's ever heard of, Iron Lung.
Okay.
Yes.
Glad we put it on here so we can talk about the thing that we're not going to see or talk about. Yeah.
Yeah, the premise is the film is set in post-apocalyptic future after an event known as the Quiet Rapture caused all known stars and habitable planets in the universe to disappear. A convict is sent to explore an ocean of blood discovered on a desolate moon using a poorly constructed midget submarine nicknamed the Iron Lung. Okay. All right.
This is the fucking Markiplier movie.
Oh, all right.
That's what this is. This is. Okay. This is it's gonna big time for YouTube critics to make their own movies. So yeah, all right.
All right, cool. Did not know that. Then speaking of the Charlie XX movie, we have The Moment coming out next week, starring Charlie XCX, Rosanna Arquette, A bunch of people. Interesting. Okay. A mockumentary revolving around a pop star gearing up to lead her first headlining tour. All right.
Okay.
Fans of Charlie XCX rejoice, I guess.
I mean, they're gonna have a good month. You know, they got
Yeah.
that, and then they got coming out Wuthering Heights with
Oh,
her doing all the
yeah.
music. So
Nice.
yeah.
Following week, we have Rennie Harlan. I love that man. Not really. Strangers, Chapter 3. That's a thing if you want to check that out. In limited release, a movie I am actually looking forward to called Pillion. Directed by Harry Lighton, starring Harry Melling and Alexander Skarsgård, in a movie I've heard described as a sexual debaucherous sexual dark core thing. A what do you call that when people are like sexually beating each other? What is that called?
Masochism.
Masochism. Yes, masochistic. Sexually debauchery, yes, all that stuff.
All right.
Yeah. And then Twisted. I'm not sure what Twisted is. What is Twisted? Oh, yes, I looked at this.
I don't know. You put it on the docket. Why are you asking me?
This looks interesting. Two millennials scam unsuspecting tenants by renting out expensive New York City apartments that they do not actually own. The scheme works until they encounter an apartment owner with a hidden agenda who turns the tables on them. Starring Juman Hansu, Lauren Lavera, Mia Healy, Alicia Witt. Speaking of the original Dune, she played Alia in the first Dune. Yeah. Interesting connection there. All right, so that's what's coming out. Go to my Medium, Damian.Sherman.medium. I put my massive 3,000 word best of 2025 out there, so check that out on there. Letterboxd, Midnight Film Pod, like I said, doing a review of a movie I'm watching every day, so I'm very active on there. 27 away from 2,400 followers. Go to the Film Essayist on YouTube, Spotify for podcasters to distribute your own podcast. iFanboy, Ringer, Discord, all the Discords. Hayward Riddle. I'm now Punk Trash in honor of One Battle After Another, coming out being nominated for many Oscars. Midnight Film Pod on TikTok again. With my New Year's resolutions, one movie a day and all that, I'm also trying to do more on TikTok. I did a pretty lengthy prediction video the other day, posted that on there right before the noms were announced. So go to Midnight Film Pod on TikTok. Anytime I go to see something in theaters, I'll probably try to do a after viewing review on there. So subscribe, like, and subscribe, do all those things. Derick, what you got to plug?
My plug is the Underrated Movie Podcast, the other podcast that I do where I talk about, as the name would imply, underrated, underappreciated, and under the radar films. You were recently on talking about a Damian-ass movie, The Wolf House. So that was a lot of fun. So I got to talk about that one. But I've got some stuff coming up soon. Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves with Bill Bodkin. So that one. I had a lot of fun with that, so stay tuned. I've also talked about Comet for Valentine's Day coming up here. Got some good stuff in the pipeline over on Underrated. Just look up Underrated Movie Podcast, however you're listening to this, or on any social media, or go to underratedmoviepodcast.com.
Yeah, check all that stuff out. All right, so for Midnight Film Society, I've been Damian.
I've been Derick.
And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.